Hey there, it's Lacy J from Space Bear Media, the makers of Lost in My 40s. Did you know that you can go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, including our weekly video pre-shows where your hosts ponder ethical questions related to the week's episode and answer some fun questions just for, well, fun. Speaking of fun, if you have it, thanks to our content, please consider rating or reviewing Lost in My 40s on your favorite app, or recommend us to a friend who loves Lost. Hello, welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s. We're in season 2 now. It's episode 4. Everybody hates Hugo. It's a Hurley episode, and it's what?
Which is not at all true. I mean,
what's not true?
Nobody hates
Hugo. Everybody
Hugo.
doesn't hate Hugo.
Oh God. Woo.
We're out of practice, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah,
that will become abundantly clear in time.
Okay. Shall we put a disclaimer? We record these in chunks, basically. And we've had a few weeks off, and we're now back. And I guess out of practice, and we're shitty. And here's the episode. All right. So it's Hurley. It's my first Hurley episode. But let's say hi. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Ben, Derek, Christy.
Good.
Doing all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Benjamin, can you update us, please, on where the power rankings were after the first 3 episodes of season 2?
I can. No surprise. Kate was in first place with 29 points. Behind her was Helen, of all people.
Yeah.
With 22 points.
Peg Bundy.
Yeah, man.
We love her character.
She made an instant impression. And then behind her is Dr. Bronze. In the
Dr.
bottom
Bronze?
of the bottom of the barrel, somehow we have managed to keep Randy Douchebag Nations. You know, he's I don't know how that happens. He's just like a pin cushion.
Really? Even after the first 3, he was in there? I didn't know we found him that
sorry,
quick.
I'd moved over. No, it was I was looking at it. Mr. Cooper, was in last
I'm
place.
like, wait a second, you're in the wrong week.
Yeah.
He's giving us after. He's updating today. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The rest of it was right though. And then we've got Susan in second to last place.
Susan, evil bitch, yeah.
Yeah, and then Kevin, the fiance, rounding out the bottom 3.
Yes, the Sarah's fiance.
Yeah.
Sarah's
Yes.
fiance.
And 2 slots down from that, I just have to call it out because I love it. Jack's wig is in 5th to last place.
So bad.
It really is so
All right.
fucking awful.
Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you?
Okay.
Yep.
It is day 46 on our island. Episode opens up with Hurley in the hatch, and he puts a Slim Smith and the Uniques record on, and the song is called My Conversation, and it's like I don't know, it's like a happy little ditty, you know, like right? That's kind of what it sounds like.
Kinda like that, yeah.
Anyways, so
The way
he's
you
like,
have it written in the timeline, I'm thinking,
That's
what was
'cause
that
you're from the
90s?
90s.
There
Yes.
was a kid whose parents made him
Wow.
go
And
into
change with the kids and the change.
oh
They
wow,
actually
went
had
to
that
their church. Yeah,
you had the tape.
Yeah, because it was like early 90s before CDs.
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I won a tape off the radio one time. It was a Color Me Bad tape.
Wow.
I was like in 7th
Wow.
grade. Yeah. Holy shit, we just got like old. Let's go back into the hatch with the food.
We've been getting home the whole time.
Yeah, so the crash test dummies are playing, and Hurley is standing in the middle of the like pantry with this kind of stunned look on his face. He finds a tin marked candy, opens it, and eats a chocolate bar, and then he grabs a bag of chips from the shelf, dives into that.
His
It's
face
amazing.
when he
He
eats
drinks
that-
directly. He drinks directly from a carton of milk before opening a box with an entire plated dinner inside. He grabs the steak from the plate, dips it in the mashed potatoes, and then takes a huge fucking bite. After that, he shovels an ice cream sundae into his mouth, and the song continues. And just after the line, "I've never felt this way before," a voice from behind Hurley says, "Hi there, Hurley." And the record scratches and stops. Hurley turns around while holding the carton of milk. Some of it's like dripping from his face. And standing in the doorway is Jin. And Hurley says, "Jin, you're here." He responds in perfect English without an accent because the actor doesn't actually have an accent. I think, is he American or Canadian?
I believe he's American.
Okay,
He might have been, I think that he was born, I could be wrong. I think he was born in Korea, but raised in the U.S.
Yeah,
and that's
I know
why
that
he has the perfect U.S. accent.
Right. I know that he's not, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Anyway, so he responds
I think
in
it's
his
funny as you
normal...
say,
He was born in South Korea, raised in America, and graduated from Harvard.
Yeah,
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
I like how you say he's
So,
got a U.S. accent because
US.
what the hell is that? It can be anything.
Bad English. Okay, so
Isn't that another
where
band?
was I?
Bad
What?
English, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. See,
Oh
now
my God, I need a break
imagine
already.
Jin with a U.S.
We're like-
accent. I imagine him being like, "Oh, Hurley," like something else.
He
Did you get some of that
responds
shrimp down at the bayou?
oh my God, in a perfect American accent, where the fuck that is. He says, "I sure am." Hurley says something about how Jin's speaking English, and Jin responds, "No, you're speaking Korean." This whole scene is fucking hilarious. And so suddenly there's a person in a giant chicken suit, just randomly standing next to Jin. Hurley asks why the chicken man is there, but he says it in Korean. And we're now getting like subtitles or whatever. Jin responds in English, "Everything is going to change." And then says, "Have a cluckety-cluck-cluck day, Hugo." And that's like the beginning of this fucking crazy-ass episode.
I keep
Hurley-
imagining when the dude shows up in the chicken outfit. I just imagine all of a sudden like Peter Griffin being there going, "Oh crap!"
Yes.
And then they just boom, they start wailing on each other.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so Hurley, like Kate says Hurley's name, snaps him back into reality. And he picks his head up from like the nap that he was taking in the pantry. Looks up, and the timer on the wall flips from 3 minutes and 44 seconds to 3 minutes and 43 seconds. He tells Kate he wasn't asleep. He's just resting his eyes. Oh, sorry. He's like sitting at the computer, right? Is he?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
his dream, he was in the
In the stream, he's
pantry.
there. Yeah, he's sitting at the
Yeah.
computer, and like the timer flips or whatever. And he says he's just resting his eyes. I pull that shit too. That's silly. That's such a code for sleeping, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyways, she points to like a Post-it note on the computer screen and tells him like the numbers are right there, which is hilarious. And Hurley just kind of responds, "Yeah, I remember the numbers." Kate says,
I bet he does.
yeah. Kate says she'll be taking the next shift with the computer and that she's heard about Hurley's new job. She seems excited that they have like responsibilities again. But when expressing that to Hurley, he responds super unenthusiastically, "Yay for us." Hurley, then he puts in, the numbers, hits execute, and the clock resets to 108 minutes. So, what are you guys thinking, like, as this is, especially Derek? What?
When I saw this opening,
There's a
scene,
transition. Yeah, like there's a transition into like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. So, like, what was your interpretation of that, Derek? Like when you're first watching it?
well, like the dream.
Well, just like no, that like that they're just taking shifts. Like they just took over Desmond's job and they're just doing it now in shifts. And
All of a sudden, they've gone from being survivors to like almost having a job.
Custodians.
Right.
Yeah, custodians.
So it's a big plot change, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Yes.
So I was curious as to what you were thinking when you first watched it.
I was just kind of surprised they just jumped into it so fast, like just so willingly. I know Locke would, of course, but because that was his destiny.
Right. Is it more surprising?
Especially Kate, too.
Okay, so it's more surprising that the rest of them are on board.
Right.
What did you guys think, Ben, Christy, when you're watching this?
I was kind of surprised that Hurley decided to take a shift with the numbers.
Yeah.
He does just kind of go along with it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially knowing the numbers, or recognizing the numbers.
Uh-huh. What did you think, Ben?
I mean, I think I said this on the last episode where it went from it went to a different kind of level of survival where before they had to survive the island, the fucking bears, the smoke monster, the traps, all that type of stuff, the others. Now they're in here. And like the thing they got to worry about most is like lumbar support, and making sure that they're that they're pressing this button every once in a while
to save the world.
It's like they were working really, really, really hard to keep themselves alive. Now they're pressing a button, doing doing like basically nothing to keep the world from ending.
Right.
So there's just it kind of inverts the sort of the import of what they're doing.
Yeah. Back in the jungle, Sawyer, Jin, and Michael are like in the pit of despair, if we want to keep making 90s references, right?
Wasn't that 80s?
Michael, I guess it is 80s. Yeah, you're right.
80s.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, Fred Savage was still pretty young.
I guess I meant like being 90s teens. Yeah, we were 80s kids. You're right. Same generation. Anywho's. So Michael is like screaming. He wants out of the pit. Sawyer says it's futile. Jin is like speaking in Korean and pointing at Sawyer's shoulder where the bullet wound is, and he's trying to like show concern. And then Sawyer says, yeah, why don't you pee on it?
Which I laughed so hard.
It's so fucking funny. It's so funny.
This is the second time somebody's asked Jin to pee on him.
Yep.
That's why it was so funny, because we know
that's why. Yeah.
We know what his reaction would be,
That's been one of I think our favorites. Yes. I think that's been one of our favorite scenes thus far is the like peeing on the leg scene with him and Hurley. All right. So after he's talking about peeing on his shoulder, the big muscle-bound, scary man, who we know to be Mr. Echo, but not at this point, flips open the top of the pit, throws down a rope, tells them to climb up. Sawyer doesn't think they should do it, but then Ana Lucia appears with a gun and says, like, up the rope or she'll shoot them. Jin climbs up. Sawyer tells Michael he shouldn't follow. He claims she's only got one bullet, so she isn't going to waste it. And that's when she picks up a rock and throws it at his head and tells Michael to grab the rope. And Sawyer refers to Ana Lucia as Hot Lips, which is so bad. So misogynistic.
He's not wrong, though.
No, still not wrong, but terrible to say. And so he calls her Hot Lips, tells her that she'll have to come down there to get him. And so she just slams the pit down and the screen goes black and you just hear Sawyer go, bitch. That's the last.
I'm inclined to agree with him.
Yeah, I like Ana Lucia. I like her character because she just is like well, we find out later why. I'm not going to earmuff Derek or anything, but we find out later why her personality is the way it is. But she's very much a protector, right? And I like that about her. Like she definitely like kind of adopts her tribe on the island and is leading them and protecting them for sure. Anyways, we come back and we're in flashback number 1. And this is something that we've seen now a few times in different capacities and like different episodes. But Hurley's watching the lotto numbers being drawn, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23. And then the mega number is 42. And Hurley looks stunned, sways side to side a bit, and passes out. His mother comes running into the room, kind of smacks him awake. She wants to know, like, what is the deal? But he doesn't tell her. She chastises him for eating fried chicken and not exercising. She's pretty hard on Hurley, I think. Do you guys think so?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
she tells him,
it depends. Like, I think it kind of depends on the history there. Like, has he put her through a whole bunch of stuff and she's just kind of prickly because of that, or is she just a bitch all the time?
well, I guess that's what they allude to. We don't have that whole story yet, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, that he's put his family through stuff.
Yeah, he said that in a previous episode that he put him through a lot.
Yeah, but still, like, you can still be constructive. Like, I don't know. I just feel like she's kind of mean to him, I thought. I don't know. Maybe I didn't think that at the time, but it seemed that way to me now.
The thing that stands out the most to me is that she keeps saying Jesus. And I'm like, wouldn't she pronounce it Jesus?
I don't know. I mean, Jesus is the name, which is really just like Jesse, I think. But if you're... I have no idea. I don't know. We need somebody, please,
people who speak
in a Spanish culture.
They generally pronounce it Jesus. And, when she's
when talking about Jesus?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jesus Cristo.
Jesus Cristo.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then, she's like, well, you have to pray and then maybe you lose weight, get a girlfriend and a new car. Will Jesus please bring me a new car?
Yeah, I wish that worked because I'd be praying every day.
I would pray.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like her logic, her thought pattern there is a bit, okay, sure, lady. Because if that's how it worked, if you just prayed and then you just got all of this new stuff in a new car, then wouldn't...
Why would you have to pray anyway? Isn't he supposed to be omnipotent and know everything already?
Well, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go back to his mean old mom. She's telling him that he needs to change his life. And right, like you said, if he prays to Jesus, he'll get all of that shit. Anyways, the phone rings and she runs into the kitchen and says, "Oh, that must be Jesus." Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Fucking woman. So on the island, Hurley
If it was Jesus, it would be a collect call.
What? You don't think he's got a calling card?
No.
That's dating
90s.
us too. Jesus Christ. All right.
He's got a Boost Mobile.
Oh my goodness. Back on the island, Hurley is standing at a rocky shore. He's like splashing water on his face. Charlie comes up carrying Aaron, and he wants Hurley to tell him what is in the hatch. Hurley tells him that it's like a World War II bunker, only newer, which is kind of a good description, I guess. Newer as in like the 60s. Anyways, Charlie can tell that Hurley's like withholding information and calls out his lies. And Hurley said he doesn't lie, but Charlie points out that he once claimed he was worth $150 million. So still, Charlie's not letting that go. He doesn't believe him. It annoys me just as much as it did the first time around when he didn't believe him.
Yeah, why does he not believe him?
I mean, it does sound, it's a pretty big tale, I suppose, under normal circumstances, but it's like, I don't know. I just feel like he should tell that Hurley's telling the truth.
And what does Hurley have to gain by lying on this island?
Yeah, I don't know
that's
anybody
what I'm
that's
saying.
ever
Like,
randomly said, I've won a lottery.
Yeah, like it just doesn't make sense that he would do that. And that's what annoys me is that Charlie doesn't seem to understand that part of what I think is Hurley's character.
Yeah.
Although Charlie knows a different Hurley than I do because I've been watching, from afar.
Charlie's character has just been kind of a dick.
I actually have notes. Charlie is being a dick.
Yes, there you go. See, great minds think alike, and so do ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like it's like he calls out, like he tries to call out Hurley all the time. In some of the later episodes that we're going to go through in season 2, he's just always being kind of a petulant little dick. And I'm not really sure. Like he was, he had his struggles in the first season, obviously, and he's still having his struggles. But his character seems very one-dimensional, or however many dimensions it takes to represent a dick.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think that assessment is right. Like, having watched the show and know where his character goes, I feel like that choice is purposeful, because everybody's kind of got their demons, and that's sort of Charlie's, is that he kind of just goes along, right? He doesn't really find his own way, and he maybe it just acts like a child, and that's what the petulant, like, dickishness comes to. And he is kind of flat as like a human being almost, right? And I guess we're here to see, is he going to grow on the island?
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie's one of my favorite characters, but I think that your assessment of him thus far, that actually, that makes sense. All right. Tangent. Anyway, so Hurley, when Charlie challenges him about the money, Hurley corrects him that it's actually 156 million. And this just pisses Charlie off, who then says he's worth 900 trillion and the baby is made of chocolate lollipops. And then he storms off. Still, I'm on Hurley's side here. I think Charlie's being a jerk, but
he is.
Yes.
Yeah, anyways, Rose is humming along and hanging laundry on a clothesline. And she takes a suitcase full of dirty clothes and starts washing them. Hurley comes up. He wants to know why she hasn't asked about the hatch when apparently, like, everyone else has. And she says that's his business. And besides, whatever it isn't going to get the laundry done. And then Hurley gets an adorable look on his face and says, well, actually, it sort of is. So Hurley, I guess, makes the executive decision to take Rose into the hatch. You think he chose her because she didn't ask?
Yeah.
Like, she seemed uninterested, so he offered it up?
Yeah.
And she's
I think so. I mean,
so sweet.
Yeah. There's that too.
It's like the Sorcerer's Stone, like you can only find it if you're not looking for it.
Oh.
Same kind of deal where it's like he doesn't want somebody greedy in there. He wants somebody that's just like somebody that could be helped by it without trying to help themselves too much.
Got it. Okay. So the two of them are now like walking through the jungle. They're looking for the door to the hatch, that kind of back door that we discovered via Desmond. Hurley finds it and opens it, and Rose is following, but you can tell she's very tentative, which I would be too. You never know what the fuck is going to happen on this crazy ass island. But anyways, they're walking through the hallway when Jack appears, and he is a little bit pissed that Hurley brought her down in there, and Hurley tells Jack that she's not going to say anything, and he really needs the help. So
my question is, why the fuck is Jack angry? Who is he to decide who should know and who shouldn't?
Well, that goes back to the kind of reluctant hero
leader.
Yeah, reluctant leader kind of thing, right? He addresses that like face to face with Kate in, is it the season finale? I don't know. When he says to her, everybody wants me to be the leader until I make decisions.
Right.
Right.
Yep,
and so.
It. Okay. Well, then my other point is Jack must have forgotten that Art's told him, if you want to keep a secret, don't tell the fat guy.
Don't tell. Well, yeah, there's that too. I mean, I guess, he shouldn't be surprised. But I think that Jack, like, his character seems to be in this sort of transition period where he's like, okay, I'll finally accept this leadership role that you guys are forcing on me, but then you actually have to let me lead. And he's in this weird transition where he's trying to push back as a leader. And so that's, I think, where the anger comes from.
Okay, but I still don't understand why it's a problem for everybody else on the island to know about the hatch.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand what
Jack's
Jack's thinking is there that, who, like, yeah.
I think they just haven't done the math yet. Like, they see, there's a bunch of food, there's all these limited resources that are here. They could be used for good, or they could be squandered. And I think not having gone through and been like Hurley does later in the episode, I think, where he's just like, this is only gonna feed everybody for like a week or something like that. So let's have at it. I think they hadn't taken stock of that yet. So Jack was trying to be protective of the resources.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense too. Yeah. Although I mean, I don't disagree with you that, like, I'm kind of annoyed at his anger, because he just, Well, I probably am annoyed at it because I'm a lot like Jack in the way that, like, once I decide I want something done a certain way, then you just need to do it and not fucking challenge me. So I understand that part of him. But that's a part of myself that I think is not good. So I guess I get mad at it in Jack. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. All right. Anywho's, we're back with Claire now on the beach, and she's got her feet in the surf, and she's like takes this deep breath and smiles, and then notices something in the water. As it washes ashore, she grabs it and realizes, wah, wah, it's the bottle of notes from the raft. So, bad sign.
Don't you think after a while, a walk on the beach ceases to be like novel when you live on a beach, and therefore every walk is on the beach?
Yeah,
I feel like,
sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd walk inland or something if I wanted a change of scenery.
Well,
if I
yeah,
lived
but
on the
inland
beach,
is-
I would walk on the beach all the time.
But inland is where people
you
die.
because you had to.
So
True.
I think
true.
I'd probably be on the beach. All right. In the hatch, Jack and Hurley show Rose the magic food pantry. And Jack tells them that it needs to be inventoried. And until that's finished, nobody gets anything, no exceptions. And he assigns this duty to Hurley. It's his responsibility. He's got to monitor the inventory. So beeping from the clock starts, and Rose asks what that sound is. And Hurley is like, you don't want to know, basically. So they're starting the inventory process, and Hurley finds a tin full of Apollo bars. Christy, are you okay?
I thought I was going to sneeze, but then it
Oh my
went
God.
away.
I was like, she looked really upset about the Apollo bars. Okay.
No, that was my sneeze face.
Sneeze face. Got it. All right. La-di-da. Oh, right. So they're kind of chatting about Apollo bars or whatever. And Rose mentions her husband, Bernard, has a sweet tooth. And Hurley talks about him in the past tense. And they have kind of a moment where he realizes that's what he's doing and what that means. And Rose is like not bothered by it at all. She said she knows he's okay. And Hurley changes the subject to say that everybody is going to hate him. And she kind of laughs and says that's silly because he's basically the only one on the island that everybody loves.
I want to call something out
Except
here.
Charlie.
Like, yeah, except Charlie. I think like Rose's reassurance that her husband is alive, like it's very Locke-esque, right?
Yep.
Like she just has this like, I don't know, this positivity about it. Like she knows he's okay somehow. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a faith-based thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, put a pin in that, and we'll talk about more about why she has that certainty at a later episode. But you're right; it's very Locke-like, and there are reasons for that. I don't feel like earmuffing Derek right now, so. Guys, where were we? Ooh, all right.
He was saying everybody was going to hate him.
He's very matter of fact about it, and he's like super certain. And just as he's saying such, Kate pops up, and she's looking for shampoo. Rose points it out. Hurley tells her she can't have it, but she just like straight up ignores him, thanks him for the shampoo, and leaves. It's just one bottle, Rose says, and Hurley says, that's where it starts. And we get flashback number 2. Hurley is working in Mr. Cluck's, which is, the chicken that was hanging out with Jin earlier in the episode.
Would anybody eat at a place called Mr. Cluck's?
Sure.
Well,
Would you?
They're not
Good
out,
Yelp reviews.
well, they're not out here, but when I lived in the Baltimore area with Christy, there's a wing chain there called Cluck U.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
All right.
you order wings, and then, like they would deliver and knock on your door and say, Cluck you. And that was the deal.
All right.
They still around, Christy?
I guess.
I think so, but I've been kind of obsessed with making my own wings in my air fryer, so.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, they're pretty fucking good that way.
Yeah, we're another one of the couples that bought an air fryer during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I bought mine beforehand, and I
we
really
lived
didn't
into that
use it.
stereotype.
Oh, I really didn't use it very often, except for like to reheat food because it's really good at getting things crispy again.
Crispy, yep.
And then I started on this wing kick, and now almost every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, how much are wings this week? You know. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
nice.
Yes, I would eat at the Cluck Chicken.
Mr. Clucks. All right.
Yeah, that too.
So he's working there, and he's just kind of he's sort of like fingering the ticket and obviously contemplating the fact that he's won the lottery. His coworker notices the look on his face and asks it like if he's okay. Hurley says he's fine, and then he gets called into the office by
Randy Douchebag
Nations.
Fucking Douchebag Nations.
His hair this time isn't quite so douchey, but
it's still pretty bad.
It's yeah.
It looks like his mom cut it for him.
She might have. I didn't want to say anything at the end of season 1 because, Derek had no idea it was coming. But he's back. Randy fucking Douchebag Nations is back for season 2. And he plays a security video of Hurley eating chicken on his previous shift and tells him that he owes the company an 8-piece bucket of chicken. This fucking Randy. And so he yells at Hurley for giving out too many napkins. And he's like telling Hurley, unless you're made of money, he should stop giving, company money away. And so Hurley just is like, fuck this, takes off his hairnet, quits his job. Outside, he's sitting on his car and he's like having a panic attack and breathing into a Mr. Cluck's bag. Like, I guess, what do you do that to keep from passing out?
Hyperventilating.
Yeah. Stop from hyperventilating, yeah.
Right. Okay. So, he's doing this on his car, and the coworker who had spoken to him inside comes out and to check on him, and then tells Hurley that he just up and quit his job too, and that now I guess they've got a fucking day off, and so I don't know, party time, I guess.
So just to point out something for our listeners, so Hurley worked for Randy Douchebag Nations, and then in season 1, when Hurley was having a meeting with his accountant told him, we bought a box company. Mm-hmm. So Hurley later becomes Randy's boss. Yeah. Right. Because he becomes the owner of the box company.
Right. Which actually then makes him technically Locke's boss as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Lock in a box.
I might need like a fucking minute, bruh.
All right. Sorry about
another thing I like is like Hurley's friend says something to something about, we don't have any money. Who needs money when you've got looks? I want to say, you see this actor in all kinds of movies. He's in all kinds of TV shows and movies. He is a strange looking dude.
Oh, you mean his friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. This skinny guy.
He's got the weirdest features.
Yeah, he gets typecast. Guess what show he was typecast as a psychopath?
I don't know. There's something with unsubs.
Yes, he was on Criminal Minds.
Of course. He's like, the unsub definitely looks like a ferret.
Yeah, he is an interesting looking fella, but I think it gets him a lot of work because he, plays like, in this case, he's doing the quirky thing, but he's got that face to look kind of like a psycho as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're back on the island. Locke is like walking through the jungle, and there's sort of ominous type music playing, and he finds a piece of fruit on the ground, picks it up, and out loud he says, "You can come out now." And he explains he's been walking in circles and doesn't know why, like, whoever it is following him, hasn't realized it. So then out pops Charlie, all butthurt, and he's like, you don't have to make fun of me or something like that. I don't know. And he then confronts Locke and says he's sick of being at the kids' table and he wants some answers about the hatch. And I don't think he gets the response that he expected, because Locke just kind of looks at him matter-of-factly and says, well, what do you want to know?
Charlie's acting like such a fucking child.
I know.
This episode.
God.
I really don't like him this episode.
Okay. Let me say, like in defense of Charlie, just slightly. I get it. Like, he can be a petulant little shit. But two things are going on. Like, one, he's taking responsibility for this child on this island, which is a big deal, right? And two, his comment about like being at the kids' table, he's right. He is left out of all of the sort of main like communications, but he's the one that killed Ethan, right? He stepped up. He got the baby back. He killed Ethan. Like, he's I think in his eyes, he's like, how much more do I have to prove myself for you guys to respect me enough to include me in what is going on?
Okay, but Claire didn't ask him to step up and take any responsibility for the baby.
No,
and at the same time, they were pissed off at him for shooting Ethan.
Yeah, they need to pump him for information.
Yeah, Saeed could have interrogated him.
No. I see your point. What I'm saying from Charlie's perspective, like,
Sure.
I understand why he comes at Locke, because from his perspective, how much more do I have to do? And from his perspective, stepping up to take the baby is the right thing to do. I understand. I mean, we get themes into that later in how
this the
Claire
scene where
actually
he also
feels.
said to Locke, I didn't go with the A team to get the dynamite, but I would have if I had been asked. I like the A team reference.
I do too, but I feel like from Charlie's point of view, like I think he feels like he just keeps trying, and why don't they see him as, like he said, like one of the big kids? I don't know. I feel like we're going to fight about Charlie now for a little while.
He's a pretty small guy.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a child
He's not an actual hobbit. I looked it up. He's like 5'8".
Okay. I mean, that's
I
a
looked
little,
it up after
that's tall for a halfling, but it's still not tall.
Yeah.
I looked it up after, I think you had made a comment somewhere in season 1, Ben, about Evangeline Lilly being taller than him. And I looked, and it's not true. He's an inch taller than her. We just all see him as like 4 feet tall because we watched Lord of the Rings.
She's really thin too, which makes her look taller. He's a little more stocky. Actually, He's not stocky. He's got a big head, I think is what it is.
He's hobbit sized.
He's got big hair.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Hair. What are we even talking about? Okay, so
Saeed.
Yep, he's in the hatch using a piece of metal to bang on a wall, because I guess that's what Saeed is doing. I don't know.
And here, while he's banging on this thing, he says, "I think the steel is 8 to 10 feet thick." Okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
Is he an armorer?
I know.
Did he build fucking tanks? Like, how does he know what 8 to 10 feet of steel sound like?
I guess that's why he was banging. He was listening. He knows. Who the fuck knows? It's TV stuff where you just know things like randomly, or it's like your brain is supposed to be like, oh, okay, well, he was in the Iraqi
Republican Guard.
Yeah, like the Republican Guard. Therefore, he understands all thickness levels of all walls. I don't know. Like, it's
maybe they went around knocking on tanks and stuff. Oh, that's 4 to 5 feet thick.
Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck knows? All right, but
he was also a metallurgist while he was in the Republican Guard.
So Jack comes up and he kind of shows him that the key to the gun box that he keeps around his neck keeps moving toward the wall as if it's magnetized. And Saeed just says, interesting, before explaining that most of the hatch is built with titanium. That's not a magnetized metal. How the fuck he ascertained that as well, again, I don't even know. But
his time as a metallurgist.
Yeah, so he tells Jack there's no way they're getting into the other part of the hatch by breaking it, but maybe they can get under by like crawling through the duct system. So into the ducts they go. Back in the pit of despair, Sawyer's inside, and sexy jungle muscle man opens the top, throws down the rope, and tells him to climb up. Sawyer is like refusing, and he says something like he's not going to come up until he knows his friends are okay. And then Michael just leans his face over the hole and says, "So we're friends now, huh?"
Yeah.
Okay.
I love this. This dynamic goes back and forth over the next couple episodes where they're
Yes,
like
it does.
the whole, are we friends? Are we not friends? I like how they,
Yeah.
Like how they play with this.
Well, so do you think that's kind of in it? I guess I need the guys' opinions on this. Is that indicative of male friendships where you don't just say like we're friends, I love you, or you kind of go back and forth?
I mean, I don't really remember with people. I mean, if I've known them for a really long time and we're drinking, it's like, oh yeah, you're my friend or whatever. But you generally like you show somebody you're a friend just by associating with them, basically.
Yeah.
At least that's how
So
I.
I wasn't
how I've
sure.
When
always
my
been.
friends get drunk, they'll say, "You're my best friend."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
That's what I hear it the most.
Yeah.
Well, so that's why I wasn't sure if it was just the perspective, like if some of this had to do with them being kind of trying to be toxic males, or if it's just like both of these guys are pretty damaged. They've been hurt badly in their lives, and I think they both have trust issues. And so I wasn't sure if I was reading it as like, is it just human trust issues, or is it a little bit of both, or could it be kind of like some bro stuff as well? Does that make sense? What I'm asking?
Yeah.
I think it's trust issues.
Okay.
I think it's trust issues, and I think it's also like I think there's a bit of machismo there, especially with Sawyer.
Oh,
Like it's difficult for him to really say like, you know, this guy's my friend or whatever, because he always has to put on that air that he's like the loner,
right, and it's like,
or whatever.
And even in this instance, he only said like, I want to know if my friends are okay, because he didn't know that they were listening.
Yeah.
Right. Or he may not have referred to him that way. And that's, you know, when Michael peeks his head over, that's kind of, I feel like, almost what Michael's saying. It's like, oh, interesting. Yeah. All right. So Sawyer acquiesces. He climbs up the rope, and Michael tells him that everything is cool. They believe that they're telling the truth about being on the plane. And Sawyer quips, I guess we can all sue Oceanic together. So Ana Lucia notices something in Sawyer's hand, and he refuses to show her what it is. She punches him to the fucking ground and tells him that when she gives an order, he better comply, which is amazing. We'll touch on that in later episodes. But she then tells everyone it's getting dark and they're moving out. And Sawyer's like, basically says if she ever hits him again, he'll kill her. And she just smirks at him and says, let's go. What do we think of this interaction?
I don't really have anything nice to say about Ana Lucia.
Yeah, you don't like her
hate
at
her,
all.
don't you?
like her.
I
Yeah,
do not
you
like
really
her.
don't.
Do not like her.
I totally get it. I mean, they're both stubborn, and they're going to lock horns because he's a smart ass. And I also think that early on, I feel like they're trying to play up that there's an attraction there, and that's why there's
Well,
they
of course, they're both sexy
bit.
people, trapped on this island. All right. So Charlie and Locke are just chilling in the jungle, and we get the idea that Locke's given him the whole story because Charlie says he pushed that button every 108 minutes, and Locke says, indeed, he did. Charlie wants to know where Desmond went, and Locke says he tried to track him, but he couldn't, which is interesting. That's like the first person he hasn't really been able to track thus far, right?
He'll pop up on him later, probably.
So Charlie sort of, he wonders, well, what happens if we don't enter the number? And Locke says he doesn't know, but they aren't going to find out. He's working on a system of 2-person shifts, and this is it. Like, this is just what they're doing now. Charlie says it sounds kind of nutter, and Locke doesn't really care. It is what it is, he says, and just sort of accepts his new fate, I guess. Then Locke tells Charlie that there's a record player in the hatch, and of course Charlie's face lights up, and he asks Locke what Hurley's been doing. And when Locke responds, he's in charge of the food, Charlie kind of stares blank-faced, says, food? And Locke smiles. And so we can tell the news is getting out. Hurley is sitting under a tree on the beach, and Charlie comes up and tells him that he knows about the hatch and the food. And Hurley is just trying desperately not to deal with this. He tells him that Locke's lying, and Charlie challenges him like, oh, is he lying about the button that must be pushed every 108 minutes or the island will explode? And Hurley responds, it's not going to explode, quickly realizing like what he just admitted by answering.
That was such a Hagrid moment.
Yeah, it was. You're right. That's a perfect way to describe it. That's so funny.
I should not have said that.
Said that.
That's so fucking perfect. Hey, Ben.
Yeah, babe?
Got any special occasions coming up that you need a card for?
Is this a trick question?
No, it's an advertisement.
Is this about barbcards.com again?
Bingo.
So I suppose you're going to remind me that each handmade card is only $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come with busy backgrounds or flowery poetry.
You got it. Barbcards.com offers to-the-point communication within several different categories, including our favorite, potty mouth. And if you can't find what you want, barbcards.com can do customizations.
Can I still get all of my cards for no more than $4 shipping, no matter the size of the order?
You know it. Barbcards.com has got all you need. Hey, Ben.
Oh my God, what are we selling now?
Merch.
Our merch?
Yes, sir. Shirts, coffee mugs, wine tumblers, bottle openers, stickers, magnets, and more. Your choice of product and your choice of Space Bear Media graphic from any of our podcasts.
Please tell me we're not making merch now, too.
Of course not. We'll stick to podcasts, and Pixis products will do the rest.
Thank God. I bet you have more to say, though.
Sure do. Pixis Products is a small business run by a local mom, well, local to us anyway, who needed something else to do besides being a snack bitch.
What?
A snack bitch, also known as a mom with a young child.
There's still more, isn't there?
Yepers! Pixis Products works with other small businesses for supplies, art, and other collaborations at every opportunity, including ours. In fact, Pixis Products even gave Space Bear Media our own storefront on their site. You can find us at shopspacebear.com.
Say what?
You heard me. Go to shopspacebear.com and buy something. Anyways, Charlie wants to know if there's peanut butter. So, of course, this, harkens back to the fake peanut butter days when we all wanted to kill Charlie for that terrible, terrible trick. And he wants to make it up to Claire, and he wants peanut butter. Hurley tells him no. And so Charlie comes at him with, accusations of him withholding food from a nursing mother.
Baby. Oh, my God.
And then... he accuses Hurley of being one of them, management, the man, which I love. He's become Hurley douchebag Reyes, I guess.
I think Claire has basically said no more pussy until you get me some actual peanut butter. That last trick,
Yeah.
You cut off.
I don't think he's getting any pussy.
I don't either. I'm
so.
just throwing out some
She
intrigue.
just gave birth.
I see. Yeah, I mean, she's got to wait at least 6 weeks. Anyways. After Hurley gets called the man, we're back in flashback number 3. And Hurley and his goofy-looking friend are in a record store, and everybody's favorite hit, You All Everybody. You All Everybody. Is playing over the loudspeaker in the record store. And he Hurley picks up the record and they're like incorrectly singing the lyrics, and his friend calls them suck shaft, which I fucking love. Hurley goes up to the counter to speak to a very pretty gal named Starla, and she's like kind of flirting with him, and he asks her, you can tell that they've known each other. Like, I guess they come into this record store a lot or whatever. And he asks her if she would go to a show this weekend. And she like agrees and smiles, and they're gonna go out. And as they're walking away from the counter, his friend is saying to Hurley, like, you've been crushing on this girl forever. Now, suddenly you're asking her out. Like, what has gotten into you? And Hurley says, nothing. I just wanted to ask her out before. And he kind of trails off. And his friend's like, before what? And Hurley says, nothing. So obviously he wants to know if his crush will like him before he is a millionaire, right?
Yeah, and she's ridiculously cute.
Cute. She's ridiculously cute.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, she's adorable.
Yeah.
All I can think of with Starla, though, is, what's that movie with all the worms and oh my God, why can't I think of what it's
Tremors?
called? No, God, no. Hold on.
Worms.
Hold on. It's got the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy in it.
The guy from
That narrows it down.
Hold on. I'll cut some of this out. Just let me Google. Starla horror movie. Slither. My God, I couldn't think of it. Slither. So it's a it's a James Gunn movie, and James Gunn also does Guardian of the Galaxy. And but it's a movie about like zombie slugs, basically. And the main character in it, her name is Starla, and fuck it, never mind. I mean, really, like, I just started to consider, like, what am I going to do? Go through the whole fucking plot of the movie? Just watch it. It's a James Gunn movie. It's called Slither. It's a zombie movie, and it's fucking great.
Okay.
All right. Saeed and Jack are crawling through the ducts looking for a way into the, like, magnetized part of the hatch. Saeed's banging on more walls to ascertain their thickness, I guess. And then he says randomly, like, it looks like someone's poured concrete everywhere. And he comes up, somehow he knows there's a geothermal generator behind the wall, and that's the hatch's power source. He's just decided that's what the fucking thing is. And he warns Jack, the pipes around them are very hot. They get to the end of the duct and, like, it's blocked. And Jack wants to know what Saeed thinks is going on here. And Saeed just busts out with, well, you know, the only other example of concrete being poured over everything he can think of is Chernobyl.
That's actually what I thought of first too before this scene, or when the scene was going on. Yep.
But how does he's like, the last time this was done was at Chernobyl. Was like, oh, you're so plugged into the concrete community. Like,
yes.
With the number of civil works projects going on in China at the time, my guess is there was something similar to that happened in multiple cases.
Well, right. I mean, it's a fallacy.
Make world news, though. Like Chernobyl did.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, so there's this loud bang suddenly, and Jack moves toward the noise, and he finds Kate in the shower, and he's like, hey, kind of in an awkward way, and she hays him back. Yeah. Oh my God.
I was just, the whole time I was like, dude, give her some privacy. Like, fucking turn around and leave the room.
Right. He just like walks in on her in the shower, and then I guess it's like, I guess this is what we're doing now. It's like, we're just going to hang out here in the shower.
I'd be like, hey, we need to conserve water. Let me get into this.
She immediately tries to justify it and says she's just checking to see, if it works, and tells him, it was cold. It smelled like sulfur, but it was still a shower. And that basically he could use one, and tells him that she'll leave the shampoo for him. It's a cute scene. It's flirty, fun. They should have taken a shower together, but whatever.
Yep.
It was a nice big shower. It looks like you could get a few people in there for some fun.
Yeah, you just got to get over the smell of sulfur.
Yeah.
Not a sexy smell.
I still
you're
think,
looking around like, did somebody fart? Did somebody have rotten eggs? What the fuck's going on here?
I don't care. If I could, after 46 days, if I could get in the shower, it could smell like sulfur.
Yeah,
fuck that.
That's true.
All right. So in the jungle, the survivors from like both sections of the plane, the backenders and our originals, are walking, and a woman trips. Michael helps her up, and she introduces herself as Libby, and she asks how many survivors are on the other side of the island, and he tells her about 40 when they left, and she tells him that there were 23 who survived the back end. So, of course, one of the numbers. Big old muscle-bound, sexy jungle man. With the accent of, I wrote in the timeline, with an accent of African origin. It's, of course, Nigerian. Asks Sawyer if he's okay. And Sawyer's like, oh, now you care. And the man apologizes, saying that, he didn't mean to beat and imprison his friends. It was all based on a misunderstanding. And he actually, he seems genuine about this, right? He was just protecting. He's like Anna's hired muscle,
henchman.
I guess. Yeah.
The tough. Have you noticed, go back and watch this episode and look at his outfit at this point, like the way he has leaves just randomly attached to his body is really funny.
Well, and exactly. That's why I call him the sexy jungle man, because they play that up, and you know why it happens, because when you first see them, we're supposed to not know that they're from the plane.
They were survivors,
right?
Yeah.
Right, and so it's like looking like, oh, these are the others, and they live in the wilds, and so they kind of did that. I
understand why they would be dressed up with like leaves and fronds and things all over them, but the fact that the leaves are where they are in his outfit, it's just kind of ridiculous.
I see what you're saying. Like, it's not practical. It just looks ridiculous.
Not at all. Yeah, it just looks
probably
ridiculous.
the same prop person that did Jack's wig.
Yeah, seriously.
And I think, and it, unfortunately,
fucking interns.
And there's also some like racist undertones to this too. I mean, even the way I call him sexy jungle man, that I probably shouldn't even say that in hindsight sounds.
They see him in the jungle. He's in the jungle.
No,
he's got
I get
jungle
it.
leaves all
the
over
mighty
him.
jungle. Yeah,
I get it, but is it not playing on the trope? Like, why is he the only one that was dressed like a jungle man? Like they're playing it up like the big black, jungle. It's just it's a stereotype, and it's kind of racist.
He's the only one in the group that you could take their shirt off and you wouldn't either have to make it rated R or Bernard without a shirt, whatever that is.
Well, he does look fucking great without a shirt. I'll put that out there.
Anyways, huge, man.
Yeah.
So they arrive at this location wherever they were headed, and there's a door. Anna knocks, and a man opens the door, kind of older gentleman. He looks at them, and they just have, a nod of like, they know each other, obviously. It's the other back-enders. So they enter the facility. They walk through the hallways. It looks a lot like the hatch. There are Dharma Initiative logos on the walls, and inside there are only a few more people. And they're kind of standing there looking all scared and terrified. And Michael says to Libby, I thought you said there were 23 of you. And she responds, there were. And that leaves Sawyer and Michael looking horrified, because obviously something has happened to these people. So Sun is in her garden when Claire, holding Aaron, comes up with Shannon, walking Vincent. And Claire tells her that she found something in the water, and she told Shannon, and they decided, they think that Sun should know. And so Claire hands her the message bottle. And now, Sun knows. Well, I don't know what she knows, but I guess she can imagine the worst. Do you think that was right for them to tell her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. I wouldn't have been able to sit on that. If it was me, I would have had to have told her.
Yeah, I mean, and immediately your mind goes to, maybe whatever happened. They got hit by a rogue wave or something like that, and this thing the raft is no longer afloat. But you don't really know that either, No,
but I just
somebody opened up a container and it just fell in the water.
Right, but I just think she had a right to that information. Yeah, I think they did the right thing.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, so back in the hatch, Locke is loading a rifle. Hurley comes in hot and he is pissed at Locke for telling Charlie the truth. He yells at him that they should have listened and never opened the hatch, and now everything is going to change. Locke, in one of his Locke ways, just kind of grins and change is good, Hugo. Hurley yells at him some more. He's wrong. He's like, trust me, I know. And he's kind of screams some more about the food and how he has to be the bad guy. He tries to quit his job, his newly assigned job, and Locke tells him no, that they all have their jobs to do. Locke is convincing people to push a button every 108 minutes without knowing why. And he apologizes to Hurley, but tells him that, like, he doesn't get to quit. This is it. This is your life now. And Hurley gets this kind of determined look on his face, like the one he got before he stormed off into the jungle looking for Danielle. And he says, okay, then.
Can I just say, fuck that. You can't fucking make me do this.
Yeah, I know.
I can quit my job if I want. You can't make me do it.
Yeah, it's like
violating some labor laws there.
Seriously.
Locke and Jack they just kind of assume people are going to do what we tell them now. They both are in that mindset, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Hurley goes storming off into the jungle. He's clearly looking for something. He's on a mission. Bends down to pick up a fucking stick of dynamite. It's wrapped in cloth, hidden under some wherever. I didn't know that he had dynamite still hidden, but I guess Hurley's got an idea and he is going to blow up that fucking hatch. So, flashback number 4, Hurley and his interesting looking friend are fucking stealing lawn gnomes off of people's yards.
DJ Qualls, I believe, is his actor's name.
DJ
Is he an actual DJ?
No, that's his name, DJ Qualls.
Oh, you mean
I don't know if he's an actual
like his name
like Donald
is
Joseph or something.
Yeah.
Oh, DJ, got it.
Because I've seen him in a lot of shows too.
Yeah, he's definitely got lots of acting creds. Anyway, so they decide they have enough gnomes for this project that they're working on, and they go to someone's yard and they start depositing all the gnomes into the yard. All of a sudden, there's a hey, and who is it? Randy fucking Douchebag Nations. So Hurley and DJ, I guess, drive off and they say, cluck you, Randy. And as they drive away, you can see they've actually spelled cluck you in lawn gnomes on his front fucking lawn. So they drive off from Douchebag's lawn and they're in the van. They're screaming. They're having a great time, screaming things about freedom. And then you realize, like, you know, their day of fun quitting job day is coming to an end. And, you know, his friend says that they're going to have to look for jobs again tomorrow or whatever. And Hurley kind of gets sort of sentimental and he's like asking his friend, like, please just make sure we never change. Nothing ever changes. And his friend makes this like bizarre assumption that Hurley is referring to the fact that he's going to have his stomach stapled. And of course he's not. He's talking about the lottery. And they decide they need to stop at the gas station and get a drink. And Johnny, I guess, is his friend's name, not DJ. And he asks Hurley if he can borrow $2. And of course, Hurley has 100 and... Well, how much did he initially win? His fortune now was 156, but...
Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. Anyway, so back in the hatch, Hurley is fucking wiring the dynamite to blow up the food, and Rose comes in and asks, like, what the fuck is he doing? And he tells her he can't... He's like, he can't let it happen again. So we start getting into
this
these
is like
rapid...
an extreme reaction.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
He's kind of joining the circus here. Like, can't he just say, I don't want this responsibility. Can somebody else take over the food thing?
No, Locke
Well,
won't
that's
let
what he
him.
tried. No, but he tried. And Locke said, no, you can't get out of it. So this is his reaction is like, okay, well, fuck you then. I'm going to blow it up, I guess. But we start getting into this like rapid fire flashback reality. And it makes it really tense and it's kind of dizzying. And I think it's leading you up to the, you know, moment where everything, you know, comes to light that he's won the lottery, right? So he tells her he can't let it happen again. Flashback number 5. Johnny pulls the van into the gas station. Outside the gas station, there's this news crew. Hurley's like trying to get him, no, go somewhere else, go somewhere else. But his friend gets excited thinking someone was shot, which I guess is exciting, and hops out of the car. Yeah. I know. Runs over there. So the gas station worker is being interviewed about the winning lotto ticket coming from this location.
I swear to God, that guy works with me.
Oh, your real job?
The gas station guy. Oh my God. He looks just like a guy that I work with.
The actor does?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Hurley's just sitting in the car and he's just like staring at the lotto ticket, and then we're back in the hatch again. Rose is trying to talk Hurley out of blowing up the food, and she says he might hurt somebody. Hurley says he'll do it outside the door when nobody is around. He tells her to leave, but she demands an explanation. And he says this is going to mess it all up. And we're back in the flashback at the same moment. His friend is yelling from the crowd to Hurley in the van, "Dude, somebody won the lottery." We're back in the hatch. Hurley is yelling at Rose about how they were all fine before they had any potato chips, but now they do have potato chips, and if Steve gets them, he'll be pissed at Hurley. Back into flashback number 7. "That's the guy," screams the gas station employee and points at Hurley sitting in the van. His friend is staring at Hurley in like total fucking shock. We're back in the hatch, and then it's going to be, "What about us?" Hurley is telling Rose, although visually we're still in the flashback. We can hear him saying, "Why didn't I get any chips? Come on, help us out, Hurley," he yells as we see the news crew like descending upon the van. "Why did Kate get the shampoo? Why didn't I get the peanut butter?" Hurley continues. As we're still in the flashback, the camera is focusing on his friend's shocked face. Hurley says, then they'll get really mad and start asking, "Why does Hugo have everything? Why does he get to decide? Then they'll all hate me," he says. And we're back in the hatch. "They'll all hate me. I don't know what to do," Hurley says, as we flash like rapidly back and forth from the hatch to Hurley sitting in the van. Hurley and Johnny staring at each other. The cameras flash on Hurley's face.
Don't detonate your food supply.
Yeah.
Many, many ways to handle this.
Yeah, he panics. He panics,
that's a real organized version of panic, though. Like, you have
but let's think about what we're learning. Let's think about what we're learning about Hurley. It's like this moment that we're witnessing is like the last moment of normality he has had, and then his life went haywire, and now leading all the way until he's on this fucking island. So like this is the last moment of like peace he has had since forever now at this point. Like, it's kind of wild to think about that. Like, think about Hurley's mindset. Anyways, that drastic scene ends, and on the beach, the sun is setting. And Hurley is there, and he tells Jack, "This is the only way." He says the inventory is done. There's enough food to feed one guy 3 meals a day for a month. They have 40 people. Jack put him in charge. This is his decision. He kind of lays down the law with Jack, and Jack agrees. He says, okay. Hurley made a good case, and Jack, had to live up to his end of the bargain. All right, it's your decision. So Hurley walks up to Charlie holding a jar of peanut butter and hands it to him. Happy kind of music is playing, and we get another one of these little montages. And he walks around the beach handing out all of the food and all of the supplies. Aaron is all smiles in his crib. Charlie hands Claire a real jar of peanut butter. She opens it, dips her finger in. Kate and Jack are like pigging out, and they're laughing, and they're having one of those like commercial moments where food is really funny, and they're just... We're just
like all the advertisements of women laughing at salads.
At salads, yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
salads so everybody's that make their like teeth super white.
Yeah, everybody's like cheering Hurley on as he passes out all of the goods. Charlie gives him a huge hug away, and everybody's happy. They're rejoicing. Hurley made the right decision. Let's party. It's been a stressful 40 some odd days. And then away from everybody is Sun, and she's digging a hole, and she buries the bottle.
Okay. She buries the bottle in dry sand about 2 inches down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, without a cobbler on that island, it is just a matter of time before somebody steps on that and their foot gets infected.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb,
like,
but that's
if you're
okay.
going to bury it, like go into some soil and, get it a foot down there. Like this is like right out of the way where there's like foot traffic. It just seems very like a very poor, placement of.
I don't disagree with you.
Me.
Yes, it's idiotic.
Come on,
but that's
son,
okay.
you're better than that.
Yes.
So we get one more scene before the end of this episode, and we are in the Backenders' living quarters, and they are on
awful.
one. What?
They look.
It's awful. Yeah, it's
living
terrible.
quarters. Yeah, you need to find a better way to say that.
What? Backenders? Nope, I like it.
Backenders living. Yeah. Okay.
Backenders' living quarters. All right.
Yeah.
Anywho's, they're on one side. Sawyer, Jin, and Michael are on the other side, and they're kind of leering, at each other. And the old man who answered the door comes over to them and asks them if there is a woman named Rose. And
I get goosebumps thinking about this.
I know. I can barely speak. And so they tell him, she's alive and she's okay. And he introduces himself as Bernard. And we get one little flash to Rose, who puts an Apollo bar in her pocket, grabs her necklace, and smiles. Covered in goosebumps. Get lost title screen. End of episode. Derek, he's alive. Can you believe it?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Yes.
I got the same reaction when I was watching this. I was like, holy shit. Well, when I saw those people, I'm like, I wonder if one of those is Bernard. I bet you will be. And there he is.
Awesome.
That was a really cool part of the episode.
Yeah, and it's goosebumps every time, and their story just continues to get better. We'll get more into it later, of course. So I'm going to talk today about Apollo bars.
Yes.
That candy bar. So the Apollo bar, when we're in the hatch, it's the only thing in there that's not like labeled Dharma related, where they've got things like Dharma Ranch Composite or Dharma Macaroni and Cheese Supper. There's just happens to be these Apollo bars, and they have an actual name. So are they real? Yes and no. The original candy comes from a Japanese candy company. I don't know how to pronounce it, guys, but it's spelled Meiji. I don't want to butcher it. So anyways, they produced the initial Apollo candies, and they've been doing that since 1969. But the candies themselves were actually in the shape of the Apollo 11 command module, and that's where they got their name, the Apollos.
Cool.
They've changed over the years, and now currently they're shaped like Mount Fuji, and they're a combination of milk chocolate and like strawberry flavored white chocolate. But after Lost kind of co-opted the Apollo name and made it into bars, they did start showing up in other mediums or shows and things like that. So let me give you a few examples. You can find Apollo bars in The Purge election year. Once Upon a Time, which is an ABC drama, which was also the same ABC, obviously, as Lost. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is, again, another ABC show. Dead of Summer, which is a TV series I've never watched, but it apparently stars another Lost actress that we haven't met yet. Cough, Juliet. They also appear in an ABC web series called Squeegees. So it's a lot of like, it just kind of becomes an Easter egg, basically, and pops up in a bunch of ABC stuff. Also a Netflix series called Insatiable. But one of the most interesting places that I found it is that in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, you can buy these, only they're called Abollos, ABOLLO, but it's the exact same like wrapping and design that the Lost creators used for the fake Apollo bars. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Anywho's.
It just shows that there's a lot of people who watch this fucking show.
Right. Yeah, that's what some of it's interesting how like it leaks into other, I almost said lore. I guess that's what it is. That's why I kind of hesitated on that word earlier. But that's the story behind Apollo bars, and they will show up more in this series as well. So we'll talk more about Apollo bars later. Kind of want to eat some chocolate now. But maybe we should get into best and worst moments. Who feels like going first today?
I'll go first.
Do it.
All right. Best moment was, I think, at the very end where Bernard finds out that Rose is still alive, and then it goes over to Rose, and she, puts the candy into her pocket. That's just, that gives me all the good feels. Mm-hmm. And the worst moment, I think it still has to be like, and I think it's just the most asinine moment, was when Hurley was going to blow up their food supply. I just think it's a fucking stupid. It's a stupid part of the story. I don't know why. I just don't really like it.
I think, yeah. I mean, it's like Christy said, it's an extreme reaction, but I think, if I look at it from the point of view, if I try to see it from Hurley's point of view, and like what we were witnessing was sort of his last moment of peace, and his life has just been psychotic since then, leading right up to the moment where, I can, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's fucking dumb. You can't blow up the, it's, all right.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Derek, how about you? What are your best and worst?
My best moments, I had a couple of them, was, well, first one was when Rose does convince Hurley not to blow up the pantry. Mm-hmm. But then also when Hurley and Johnny put the gnomes on Randy Douchebag's front yard with the cluck you. That was
cluck
funny.
You, Randy.
That was a good moment. And the worst
moment was actually seeing Randy Douchebag Nations again.
It's like traumatizing.
Like, really? This bastard is back?
Oh my God, that's so great. All right. Christy?
Best moment was, again, I agree with Ben at the end, the Rose Bernard whole situation. Worst moment for me was poor Hurley's face at the convenience store.
Oh, dude, exact same worst moment.
Yeah, that the look on his face just kind of broke my heart a little bit for him.
Yep, I'm with you on that. For my best moment, I had in all caps, Bernard is alive. And worst moment, literally the look on Hurley's face as he realizes he's losing his friend. And I was right there with you. Heartbreaking. All right.
Why is it assumed that he's going to lose his friend?
He doesn't have to lose his friend.
Yeah, I don't get
What did you say, Ben?
Winning the lottery doesn't mean you won't have your friend anymore.
Yeah.
No, but we know. So that's the thing, is that we know that he lost his friend, because as he's talking and he's expressing the things to Rose that he's afraid will happen with the food, he's telling us what happened with his friend, where he's like, why does Hurley have everything? And why does Hurley that? And he's confessing what happened to that relationship.
But he didn't eventually. But he didn't know that at the time, which is why I'm wondering why his face is that way. He doesn't know what's going to happen when he's pulling that face.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He knows
because he was afraid.
He knows that everything is going to change. That's that's the bottom line there.
What they're showing is that his face was his fear of the worst, which we then come to find out happened.
Yes.
So that's why.
So I'd be more worried about winning the lottery is getting too many new friends, not losing old friends.
Well, right. That's why
come out of the woodwork.
Asked Starla out, right? So, all right. Yeah. I'm gonna start with my power rankings. Also, I've been thinking this through. I'm instituting a new policy. I know for the most part through season 1.
Most fart.
And even this did I say fart?
You did. You said
most fart.
Yes.
Most fart. Let me take a drink of water. I talk too much through this, so all right. Ready? New policy. I am noticing that as we get further into this, I feel compelled more to justify my second and third best and worst characters. And for mostly through season 1 and the beginning of season 2, we didn't talk about those. I think I want us to be free to do that. As the show gets more complicated, we might feel the need to. So if we want to or not, new policy. Right. Anywho's, mine, best character, Hurley. I have them ranked Hurley, Rose, and Ana Lucia. Hurley because he made the right decision. He thought it through. He panicked and acted like a psycho there for a second, but he got it together and just made the right decision. And Rose, ever supportive and just a all around great person. And then Ana Lucia, I already touched on that, where I just I appreciate her need to protect her new tribe as it is. I did something controversial in my worst characters. It made Ben mad because he takes these rankings more seriously than I. But I put Randy Douchebag Nations in spots 1, 2, and 3 because I hate him that much. Ben says it's going to skew the scores, but
we're never going to get an accurate reading on how main characters are reviled or hated because Randy is always going to be in first place or last place.
I know, but it's my podcast and I can ruin it any way I want to.
That's right.
So I'm going to fuck Libby because she's fucking adorable, and I'm going to kill Randy Douchebag Nations as well, but very specifically beat him to death with a garden gnome.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Is it? All right. Christy, what about your rankings?
I like that, we're going to do all three if we feel compelled. So
Good.
My top 3, Hurley, Rose, Bernard, for very obvious reasons. Bottom 3, let's start with Randy Douchebag Nations. And then Ana Lucia, because I hate her. And then Charlie, because he's being a dick for most of this episode. I'm going to fuck Starla, and I'm going to kill Ana Lucia because I hate her.
You really do?
Wow, she does. My
this
God.
Is like Christy hates Ana Lucia in season 2 the way Ben hated Michael in season 1. It's just, there's just
I think I'm worse.
Is it because what happens in the future of this season, or why you hate her so much? Because from the beginning, I didn't hate her.
I don't know why. Well, okay, from the beginning, let's just tell you, I was a bartender for many, many years. Nobody orders tequila and tonic.
Oh my God, I'm
yeah,
dying.
That
This is why.
That does sound gross.
So yeah, from the moment we met her, I decided I did not like her.
That's fucking awesome.
Tequila and tonic, that's not a thing.
No.
I mean, I guess it is whatever floats your boat, but I spent many years behind the bar and years before that cocktail waitressing, and nobody ever ordered a tequila and tonic.
So that's it. So she's just out. That's disqualified.
Yep.
All right. Derek, tell me about your rankings.
My top 3 are Hurley, Rose, and Ana Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst is Randy Douchebag Nations, of course, and then Charlie. I didn't, he was a real pain in the ass this episode.
Oh, wow. Charlie made the hit list. Okay.
Yep.
Benjamin, tell us how you feel about your rankings and then update us.
I think Derek should do his fuck kill first.
Oh, fucking kill.
Oh, that's true.
Sorry.
I should. Yeah, I'm going to fuck Starla because she's just so cute. And I'm going to kill
Isn't
Randy
she
Douchebag
adorable?
Nations. She is.
She is adorable.
I think everybody fucks Starla this episode but me.
Yeah.
I hopped on Libby. Yeah. All right, Ben, tell us about how you want to fuck Starla too.
I'm almost the exact same as Derek. I've got Hurley, Rose, and Ana Lucia. Worst, Randy Douchebag Nations. And I'm going to say second worst is Charlie, because he's just an insufferable little twat this entire episode.
Yep.
He is.
He's just so
I do
fucking
not
annoying.
like the Charlie hate.
Yeah, well.
Just this episode.
I'm also killing Charlie. And I'm going. Yeah.
That's what I have to say about that.
I'm going to fuck Starla as well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What do our rankings look like after this week, Benjamin?
They're mostly names and numbers.
Okay.
What was that? Was that your chair?
No, that was
No,
that wasn't me.
bump.
But I'm bummed.
Yeah.
That was Derek.
Oh, that was Derek. All right.
Derek on the drums.
But
We still have Kate in first place. Behind that, we've got tied for second place.
All she did this episode was take a shower.
I know. She didn't
that's
gain
really
any
all she
points
has
though.
to do.
She didn't gain
she
any
didn't get any
points.
points.
She's flatlined since the second episode. She's not really gaining right now.
I see.
Hurley and Helen are tied for second place.
Oh.
And once again, third place, Dr. Bronze, everyone's
Dr.
favorite.
Bronze. We need to make a Dr. Bronze t-shirt. Let's do that. All right.
And the bottom of the barrel, we've got Randy Douchebag Nations has caught up with Mr. Cooper. Susan is still in second place, or second to last place, and behind her is Kevin.
Those are some dastardly characters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Ben, why don't you just continue on and give us your final impressions?
This is, it's a Hurley episode, so I really liked it. It was nice to kind of see and I do understand a little bit, even though I think it's stupid, the whole like detonating the food supply thing. The sort of lead up to that, the sort of building tension. And like you said, his life sort of was heading towards this place. And once it went through the eye of that needle, it's just been a complete fucking mess ever since. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting to have that. I really like Rose's inclusion in this show, like the way that Hurley kind of brought her into the fold. And then her sort of, I don't know. She's just very gentle, very, a very warm
gentle
person.
Gentle is a great word. Yeah. She's gentle.
Calming too.
Yeah. Very calming. And I think that's something that, like, especially with Hurley, he needed that. She was his kind of counterbalance in this show.
Do you know one other thing about Rose, about that actress? Also on an episode of Criminal Minds.
I'm not surprised.
But she probably wasn't an unsub.
Oh, yeah. I think that was on the other day. There was like two characters from The Wire that were on that same episode.
Yeah. I remember she came out. I was like, hey, look who's on Criminal Minds.
And I was like, oh, that guy's on The Wire. Oh, wait, that guy's on The Wire too. But yeah, I thought it was a really great episode. It was fun just watching, Hurley and Johnny the ferret face do their little hijinks. Yeah, it was a really good episode.
Awesome. Christy, how are you feeling?
I echo everything Ben said. I love everything about the anything to do with Hurley episode. And then, Rose's inclusion and the way they wrapped it up at the end with Bernard. I almost cried in that moment when I first watched it. And then again, when I watched it this time around, just because even though I remembered the moment, it's still so touching, when Sawyer's like black chick in her 50s, she's fine. I loved it.
Yeah.
All right. So that leaves me. I always love a Hurley episode. He is the mayor of Island Town. I liked getting more of the perspective of his life pre-lottery, obviously. But I'm also left at the end of this episode. What I'm really wanting is what happened to the back enders. That's where my head is. Like, I appreciate the episode, but my head is just, last
so your head
season
is in the back end?
My head is in the back end. That is correct. Last season it was in the hatch, and now it's like, I want to know what is happening. What happened to these people? Why were they 23 down to almost nothing? Yeah. So, Derek, why don't you tell us your final impressions after season 2, episode 4, and what kind of questions are you left with?
I like this episode as well because I don't hate Hugo. Any Hurley episode is fun usually. We do learn that Randy Douchebag Nations has been the shitty boss of 2 characters now in this show. We learn that there's 23 survivors in the tail, not back in, but most of them are dead.
Backenders.
We also find out why Hurley thinks that people don't like him because of his experience after winning the lottery, and I do like that. Bernard finds out about Rose. And my biggest question is, what happened to most of the 23 tail survivors?
Yeah, so your head is
that
where
was
my
my
head
biggest
is.
question. Yeah, when you were saying that, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, okay.
I seem to remember back when this was like a new show, they called them the tailies.
Did they? Yes, I have seen the tailies as part of the lore. I am going to use backenders because it sounds a little dirtier and I like it that way. 35% of our content is sex related.
Or masturbation.
All right, guys.
35?
Yeah.
Or masturbation, sex. Yeah, I think we decided on 35 somewhere in season 1. All right, this has been a lovely episode, everyone. I thank you so very much for joining us. Next week, we're going to have season 2, episode 5. It is called ... and Found. It is a Sun and Jin episode, and Ben is going to give it to us, and we will see you then. Bye.
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 Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacy J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook to interact with your hosts. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube to watch our episode pre-shows. You can also find us at SpaceBear_media on Instagram and Twitter. Or come to our website, spacebearmedia.com.